Hello, you sweet little goofballs. It's time for Crowdfunding Countdown, where we're going to take a look at every single clown funding this week. Or board game. One of the two. And let's get right into it, starting off something that I missed last week, which is Phantom Ink Arcana. I wanted to cover this. This is the seance. No, this is the sequel to hit. Oh no, it's one of those evenings, but that's the time that we can do it. This is the sequel to the hit seance deduction game Phantom Ink, now with tarot cards. So let me watch the video and then I'm going to talk about it to you. Because we talked a little bit about it on the R&R show. I think Ray had put it as one of their favorite party games, and it made me interested. It's kind of a version of Decrypto. If you like Decrypto, if you like those sorts of things, it's a similar game. I really like this as a concept. Essentially, there'll be two spirit givers. They both know the answer, and they're trying to communicate secretly to their own team. There was another game that I played in PAX, when I was at PAX. It was like a cross clues style game as well, where one team would have some hidden information from the other team, but there was also common knowledge. Like you're working to fight to get the correct answer starting off the bat. The key to this one is that your spirit is going to start to write something down, and then when you think you know what they're going to say, you shout "Silencio!" And you might have misinterpreted what they're going to say, but you don't want the other team to get more information because then that will help them, right? It'll give them a certain clue that you don't want them to know. And so you really have to anticipate what's happening. I think it's a really cool idea. I meant to talk about it last week. Might have hit pick for the week standing, maybe. 28 bucks US, 39 Canadian, and then what is shipping like? Shipping and taxes, so to the EU, 8 bucks to 11 bucks-ish. Canada, $11 shipping, US $6. Yeah, oh, and friendly shipping, that's nice. Sweet, and then bundle plus 4, so if you're gonna get an additional copy, that's not bad, so 11. It would be $50 for this game. Let's see, can I get it in stores? Don't think I can, so, you know, 50 bucks, not bad. A bit pricey for what I would want to spend on a party game, but I think the concept is really cool. So if you're interested in that, well, it's done, but you can still late pledge, so you can still hit back this project. It looks black, which is normally their color for canceling, but I guess it's also their color for keep on backing more, which is an odd choice, but when has Kickstarter ever done anything correctly? So you can check that out. It might be done at some point. We're going to move on to the Magician's Challenge card game. I didn't think this was going to fund, but apparently it has funded. So let's look at it. I don't think it's that good. I looked at it briefly last week because, you know, I see what's upcoming, and this was at the end of the list. I don't think it's that good, but we're going to see. Don't take tricks, perform them. Well, maybe not as bad as I was expecting. Essentially, it looks like it is trick-taking Yahtzee, maybe? Something along those lines. I don't know how you do it yourself, which is what I'm going to look into. But you get a specific magician, which will essentially just let you have one suit that's wild for you. There's some take-that zany effects that happen. Okay, so there's going to be a deck of cards in the middle. You play sneaky cards. So those are your event cards. Then you perform a trick using up to 6 prop cards. You record your score and then refill your hand to 9 props and draw 1 sneaky card. So you'll be able to have some abilities. You know what? This is much better than I expected. I take it back. And there's a print and play. Nice. $2. Early rabbit special for the first 100 backers. So probably you. 20 bucks, $28 Canadian. And then shipping. Ooh, it's no longer a $4 print and play. It's a $2 print and play. Nice. It only ships to the US. That means they're only shipping it out on their own, and so 27. So 27 bucks if this interests you. It's a thing of if you like having a limited amount of resources and not sure what cards you're going to get, trying to make the best number. It feels like just card Yahtzee to me. If you like Yahtzee, you should check this out. That finishes Wednesday, July 17th at 8:07 a.m. Moving along to my town. Well, there's a reason to not cover it. I don't see how Roll and Move is going to be fun for anybody. So let's keep moving. To Tales of the Sea. The print and play version become top dog of the seas in this competitive co-op and solo strategy game, now with added cats. Okay, you got me with the cats. 3 free pre games for free DDs or euros or pounds. Who knows? This is wild. This is one of the largest print and play games I think I've seen maybe ever. Usually with print and play, it's roll and write or rules light or whatever, but this is showing such a huge depth of game that feels like it maybe was designed to be an original game, and then they just opted for print and play just to get it out there. Or maybe it's already been an original game. Let's see. Oh, Pugly Pirates. Oh, Pugly Pirates because of the mutters. 165% funded, though. Why'd you cancel? Oh, because it was, fake funding. Let's see. Looking forward, they come back to crowdfunding. Yeah, they never gain momentum, which is the key to succeeding, so it's a fake funding goal. Yeah, so they're going to do this to prove the demand for a physical production. That's cool. And yeah, I can see how they just said that it may not be that interesting for seasoned gamers. I could potentially see that just from the description. There's a little bit of randomness, etc. But somebody might like it. And especially, that's nice. Like £5, $9 Canadian for the print and play version, or you can get the base game and the expansion for $13. If you're into printing and playing, this might be a really good deal. Hybrid of area control, pick up and deliver, and light economic mechanics. Take the helm as captain of a dog pirate ship and command your pack of motley crew, but don't get a muttony. Let's go to our how to play. Build your pack of motley crew meeples at Pot Street. I don't understand that pun. Pot Street. Pot Street? Oh, Pot St. Bernard. Oh, Port St. Bernard. There we go. At Port St. Bernard. There we go. Got it. Each time you visit, for the cost of a single bone. Yeah, so you want to always go back and get the most crew that you can. However, each motley crew takes up a cargo space. Oh, uh-oh. So you got to manage your cargo capacity with the meeples that you have. You can't just have people rolling around. You need somewhere to put the barrels of grog. Score more victory points also by burying treasure because you're a dog. 3 bones can be buried as a treasure chest or combined with valuables such as pearls. So that's the deliver part, right? You're collecting treasure, you're going to wherever you want to bury it, and then you bury it. Build your pack's traits by adding parrots, cannons, and challenge opponent to a doggy dice duel.
So it's just like Duel Monsters.
What's the difference? My game uses dice. The third victory condition. Each character has a unique starting position with different strengths and weaknesses that can be enhanced or exploited. Balance the need for speed with capturing territory. That's all I have to say about that. Download the rulebook. Yes, please. This is already confusing. Winning the game, the player who ends the round with the largest number of victory points wins. See Section 9, victory. Yeah, okay, but when does the round end? If it ends in a draw, then you have to complete a challenge. Okay, but why are you saying go to page 9 so you know, any context? Jeez. Players have to score on at least 2 victory conditions to win. Okay, and 3 victory conditions are allowing people to play, which is burying treasure, digging up treasure, marking your territory, and challenging as you go by each other. I do like this mutiny or this muttony mechanic where you can borrow against your crew, and so that can improve your action's efficiency. Like, it can increase movement points, or you can add it to your trait points, your traits, and your challenging. So if you're fighting a battle, you can just, flog your mutts. And I like the limited amount of cargo spaces. You can get ship expansions, going to islands. Moving seems fine. I mean, as a print and play, I certainly don't want to print it out because I'm way too lazy. But as a print and play, that also means there's no shipping. And so if you want a game that was originally, how much were they trying to do originally? What would this have been produced for 9 months ago? They were aiming for £42. Wow. £42 for the base game. £42, that's like $70 or $80, right? So when you compare it to that, maybe it's not so bad making it yourself, but then again, you still have to print it and you don't get quality components if that sort of thing matters to you. It doesn't pull me in as much as I would like it, but I mean, what do you expect? That finishes Thursday, July 18th at 11 a.m. Let's keep it moving to Bottle Shock, except we're not. Unfortunately, this was a $1 pre-pledge, so I am not giving it any coverage. Sorry to your $42,000 raised. I hope Launch Boom enjoys the cut. Right? Yep, not doing that. Which is too bad, because I think I could have had some fun with it, but that's okay. Fun with it being that it is the most inane, weirdest theme to bring to a game. with the weirdest mishmash of stuff. Fun that I could have made fun of it. So you know what? Maybe it dodged a bullet. But we're going to move on to Tales from the Red Dragon Inn, the second printing. The award-winning dungeon crawl game returns with quality of life improvements and unlocks stretch goals from the original Kickstarter campaign. This brings up a really good point in terms of these large-scale games. We've seen, or at least I've seen, at least over the past 3 years, I've seen a lot of reprints. You know, I've seen a lot of second editions. I've seen a lot of sequels. And in each one, there's always these quality of life improvements. There's always things that people want changed that they don't figure out in playtesting, and then they listen to the players who are actually playing the game, and then they implement it. Even stuff, even with Awakened Realms games. It's why potentially you should always go for single wave shipping with them. If they still do dual wave shipping, they probably don't anymore because, well, shipping's a nightmare. But even with that, like in the second printing, you get the errata and you get the benefit. And so that's another reason and another potential. If the game is good, it will come back. If the game does well, people will say, okay, now we can capitalize off of all the good reviews. It's been doing well. People are excited about it. People are talking about it online. Now we can do something with it. It will come back. You have the opportunity to get the second printing, and it's probably better if there is a change down the line. Likely will be cheaper than having to pay for an update pack, essentially. Look, an upgrade kit, $8, $11 Canadian, giving you standee bases, etc. But you're also going to have to pay for shipping on that. So let's see. For newcomers, the game was 100. Let's see if 8 plus more shipping. Let's assume the shipping was about the same. Let's see how much it was down there. Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. It was funded September of 2021. I think I've covered it. I'm pretty sure I covered it. It seems familiar to me. And guess what? Adventurer. It was $90. Ooh, throw on 8 in there and then pay double for shipping, and you've saved yourself money and you've saved yourself hassle, right? Anyway, what is Tales of the Red Dragon Inn? Well, let's find out. Tales of the Red Dragon Inn is a 1-to-4 player cooperative dungeon crawl board game based on the characters and world of the popular Beer and Pretzels card game, The Red Dragon Inn. But it's less beer and pretzels in this one. Or maybe not. In Tales, players pilot our heroes through an epic story-based adventure of 25 scenarios. Beat up baddies, get cool new gear, level up on the way. Nice fold-out maps, which is great. Pick the character you want to play. Variety of objectives, chase scenes, random initiative, Tales rules resource. Sure. PDFs for all the books and guides. That's a lot of guides. Guess we'll look at the walkthrough. It's probably the easiest. Oh, that's because it's a campaign game where content gets unlocked. All right. I do like all heroes, even the ones that don't get played, gain new abilities, and you all get access to the same pool of equipment. That's kind of fun. There's the ready phase, the combat phase, and the objective phase. Ready phase is just upkeep, and then it's combat phase, so it's all punching. You draw and resolve initiative, and then you go and you take your turns, you do your movement, you do your attacks, and you move towards your goals and objectives. You roll to decide the abilities of the monsters. Oh, that's cool. I do like how there's a number of different initiative tokens in there. You can use abilities until you run out of ability tiles, or decide to stop. And then there's a cooldown aspect to each ability. Oh yeah, that's nice. I mean, it seems like a pretty standard dungeon crawl. So what's shipping? With Tales, without Tales. Oh yeah. So if you get the base game for newcomers to the game, that's a stupid way of phrasing it. $20 to $120 for this game, be 127 US, 160-ish Canadian for me. That's a lot. I mean, I can see the appeal. I like that the map book is flipping open. I think it's just going to be fairly generic dungeon crawler. There's not going to be that much of a twist, but it seems like it's pretty well reviewed as well. People seem to be enjoying it. The highlight is this dice tower 9 out of 10. And I think a few people got mad in my dungeon crawlers list that it wasn't listed like anywhere. And if you are still mad about that, well, just, join Patreon and then you can join our collective top 10 that we do over there. That's good to hear. In Tom's review with his daughters, says it reminds him the most of Adventure Tactics. And that's kind of the vibe that I was getting as well. It was sort of kid-friendly, a little bit zanier, a little bit more colorful. So not your that's probably the draw, right? It's a standard dungeon crawler where you have zany monsters, zany abilities, but in that lighter feel as well, which makes sense if it's coming from the fan base of a lighter game, you're not going to overly complicate that one, right? So if you're interested in that, the finish is Thursday, July 18th at 9 p.m. Let's keep it moving. Oh yeah, I'm quite excited to check this one out, I think. Well, it says a strategic social deduction game, so obviously I'm excited. Outwit your friends, destroy their kingdoms, or be the last one standing. And be the last one standing. 5 minutes to learn, 20 to 40 minutes to play. Can you triumph? The Fall of Kingdoms. Yeah, I think I just saw it advertised to me. That's why I'm excited about it. Also, kind of something funny to flag. I feel like that happens to me more often than not. I think it's just because I'm constantly searching and like getting games marketed to me, and when I see them, I flag them and I say, okay, that's probably coming up or whatever. So I think my level of interest or excitement or in terms of seeing it beforehand is a bit skewed because I'm like, oh, I know this one-ish, and I really just don't know it. I've just seen their marketing, and that's like a really bad way of approaching things. It really is. It's like, oh yeah, they marketed to me. Wow, maybe I'll be excited about it. But that also just shows like why marketing is important, I guess. Get people familiar with your brand in whatever way you can. But let's see how this one's doing from Vancouver, Canada. Let's check it out. Well, this is just coup with different roles, and you have 3 lives because your fortress has 3 health points, essentially. So you get money based upon your morale track, and then you can play the role of a card. But hey, you can bluff about that card. I imagine if you're challenged, well, somebody else is going to lose something. Coins are capped at 10. Look at that, just like coup. It's not capped at 10 in coup. In coup, if you have more than 10 coins, you must coup someone, so the game keeps going. Eliminate another player's character card by guessing it correctly. I like that. J'accuse. You can get destiny cards, which are sort of one-time events, also incorporating those a little bit sort of random events into it. I mean, coup is good. You're not wrong. And you can build your defense back up as well. That feels like we just draw out the game. Swap 2 character cards from the house. Swap any character cards. Return 2 cards back. Look at that, it's the ambassador. And you have a counter ability, blocking the assassin, blocking everything. I mean, I like coup. Wow, come on. $53 for a coup? I don't think so. You save 36 Canadian. You think the MSRP, I'm sorry, you think this is an $89 game? No. You know what's a $20 game? Coup. There's no way that this is worth. I think this would be very interesting. Like, I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the additions. Even the Destiny cards are neat because they're sort of one-time play thing, which can really swap up the game. But I'm sorry, that's just way too expensive. $53. Wow. And then shipping's what? To the US, 16 to 20. To Canada, 18 to 23. So this is a $100 copy of Coup. That's what this is. I think it looks cool. Absolutely looks cool. It is too bad that producing things on such a small scale means that it's very expensive. But it's amazing that it's doing so well. Good art, good marketing. It can go a long way. So if you're interested in that, it finishes Friday, July 19 at 3:59 a.m. We're going to move along to Yield, Battle for Oshra, and Art Book. Ooh, I can't wait to battle for Art Book. That sounds like such a beautiful, wondrous place to live. Out of all the mythical lands, Art Book reigns supreme. But what is Yield? It's a fast-paced area control game with asymmetric powers where 2 to 5 players try to outsmart their opponents with clever action. Sure, let's take a look at it. Oh, as it was flipping through, I thought it said the Imperial. It says the Imperial Army, but I saw that kind of looks like a bee, so I thought it was the Imperial Arby's. Unfortunately, that is not the case. This game kind of looks cool. Interaction, a lot of area control, and a lot of holding on to strategic cards. In order to win a region, you have to play cards that are only good to be played in that region, but I think you can play them back and forth, at least that's what the video was saying. We're obviously going to double check in the rulebook. But whoever owns the most valuable fortresses in the end wins. Ends after 3 rounds, only 12 actions for each player. So the battles are pretty significant. If you're going to go in there, you'll want to bluff. Oh yeah, I got so much power, so much circle firepower. I'm going to whack you. You'll get to play 4 of your cards and do the actions. And if you're next to each other, you don't have to be sharing a space. When a battle happens, you reveal your secret army value. And then the weakest player decides if they play battle cards or not. Or they can yield to take damage and retreat with their army. And this is what I was talking about. Fit the color of your army So where you're at on the location. Let's peruse the rule book, shall we? Players try to conquer and keep control of the most valuable locations called fortresses. Little mini route. I do like this. You get to choose your asymmetric ability. You have 2 that you can choose from. Gives a little bit more variation or less variation because they probably won't play into effect that much. Different maps for all players. That makes sense. They were kind of selling that as like a selling point in the video. They're like, oh, all these different maps gives you so much asymmetry. Really, it's just a balance issue. But we're not going to tell you that until you get into the rules. This feels very small world-esque. Up to 2 tokens are added to 2 individual fortresses as part of your upgrade strategy card action. So you have different strategy cards, but you've got 3 different types of meeples, archers, infantry, cavalry. Share the same rule set and traits, but may have a varying number of units. Okay. Perform actions based on the strategy card played. There's the strategy phase, the battle phase, the conquer phase, recovery and recruitment. Strategy phase, you choose 1 strategy card, place it face down, then you reveal it and you perform it in turn order. So you choose before everybody sees though, which is nice. You can also sacrifice that strategy card to get more battle cards, which you will use in the next phase. After we go through all the movement, you can move all, you can conquer stuff, you can attack, you can upgrade with your strategy card, and you can have a ritual with your strategy card. Perform one of your strategy cards that's still in your hand, or you've already played it. Well, I guess you can only use these strategy cards once, hey? I think that's it, and that's why this exists. You can use one thing twice out of your 4. During a battle, they're used to temporarily increase the units of the armies. So you add the value. This has 6 in a diamond. So there you go. 6, 5, 4, 3. You reveal the units, and then you just play cards to make them larger. I don't know. How much are you? 65 euros, 96 Canadian. Nah, absolutely not. Not even a consideration at that point. And then there's shipping too, I assume. Yep. Pick up an SN free, that's nice. USA 13, Canada 18. Oh god, it's like $120 for this game. That is just fine. I just think the battle system doesn't seem that exciting to me. The strategy cards, I think I would be more interested in managing these actions in terms of how you can move, potentially tracking what other people are doing. But for me, the battle cards and the battle system just doesn't seem that interesting. But if it interests you, well, you can check it out. That will finish Friday, July 19th at 12 p.m. Let's move along. All right, we're back, and next up we have a unique game which the Kickstarter, in between me filming, kind of crashed. I think it's going to be getting back up, but I have the rulebook in like a separate form, but it's just not being loaded on Firefox. But it is a game called Nightcrawler, and it's based off of that, not the X-Men game, but like the Jake Gyllenhaal movie sort of franchise game where he plays a big friggin' weirdo stalker creep. And so the goal of the game in this one is to get the most money. And you're going to do that by tracking down bad guys and stealing their money, probably murdering them. So I have the rule book. I'm gonna go through and just give you kind of a brief overview of the rule book. I'm sorry that it isn't on the screen. Maybe I can put some images of it up later. But essentially, the player with the most money at the end of the night wins. You'll either be roaming the streets, like looking for crimes you can film with your camera, or you're going to be getting people into their own private room, their own private space, and going through like a little bit of a push your luck game in terms of how much money you can kind of extort them for. So if you're on the main board, you have to use energy to travel around and reveal these people as like you kind of scope them out and film them and try to get dirt on them. Maybe that's what it is. I think it's you're trying to get dirt on people. Yeah, that's what it is. You're trying to get dirt on people and then like kind of blackmail them and whatever. Or if you pass a stat check, you can have a confrontation with them. And in that confrontation, you're able to see how much money, how much you can blackmail them. So you start in this central area. You've got 4, and they call them energy points, but they're basically action points. You can move a space and you can travel all around, or you can flip up a mark, a subject, so to speak. And you can flip them up and you can reveal, and all the subjects will have different stats, how much money they have, what's their highest chance of paying out, what sort of loot you're going to get from them. And essentially, once you have them in your pocket, you roll to see where they will be on the spectrum, how much sway you have over them. And once you have them in your pocket, then you'll put a little token on them and see if they're going to come with you or not. You can also take people away from them. There's a bit of a push and pull between characters, where if I have a certain number of blackmail, they are going to be more susceptible to me, but if you have more, then they kind of like sway over to you, essentially. You're all Jake Gyllenhaal, but maybe not as violent. Or maybe as violent as you like. Honestly, I don't think the theme really suits this game that much. I don't mind the bloodiness, right? But I find that like it's kind of weird for an IP game. I just kind of wish it had a different theme personally. And actually, as a matter of fact, it does. I've been describing the game Nightshift, which you probably already knew. Uh, Oh no, it's the stripper game. Uh-oh. Oh, let's all get so scared and offended rather than somebody who's going around and blackmailing and murdering and extorting people. At least here, it's consensual. It's a consensual exchange of goods. And this is where I would also remind you that sex work is real work, and also that dancing is not sex work. It's not. If you've ever used the internet late at night, well, you should have nothing to say about this game. There was something about that not a lot of like reviewers were taking this on to cover because of the theme, and I think that's just really stupid. Oh, boo-hoo! These minis could basically be out of any sort of dungeon crawler and nobody would bat an eye, but the fact that we're actually putting the power into women's hands and letting women get paid for the male gaze instead of just having to accept it like every other day of their lives, just walking on the street or in any job, being consistently objectified. Well, at least here you're getting some money for it. I think that would make it an exciting game, wouldn't it? It would be exciting maybe that we have some strong female characters, especially because this was designed by a former dancer. And so like looking at the industry in that way, I think is really cool. And so I was really, really excited about this game. I think they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to review it, and I really, really did want to review it. However, one, I did not have the time, and two, I read through the rule book. This was one of the ones where normally when people send stuff to me, I look at the brief. I don't do as much of a deep dive, but I really did a deep dive already into this when they reached out, and read through the whole thing and really wanted to consider and tried to see if there's anything that I would particularly personally enjoy in terms of like mechanically. And unfortunately for me, I just didn't get that. And so what I'm doing right now is I want to do another read through of the rule book and, you know, explain it to you all and see if it interests you. I mean, it's doing incredibly well, which I think it doesn't have the right to do this well based upon the gameplay, personally. However, I'm thrilled that it is doing so well and that so many people are enraptured by the theme and like are getting on board. I think it is a unique game, and I think that uniqueness is something that I always like to strive to have in my board game collection. So I hope that maybe I missed something that was supremely interesting, but it still deals with those sort of energy point and action system. And I'm not a huge fan of stat checks. You know, whenever you go to a customer, you're kind of pushing your luck. There's a lot of push your luck here. There's a lot of those sort of more random elements when you get to a customer. You have to roll, and I haven't seen that much like dice mitigation. Although I think you can do it at the bar. I think you can buy them shots if you're trying to steal things away. Uh-oh, look, it's a butt that you've seen in every single dungeon crawler that just doesn't give women armor. Like, get over it. Seriously. The people who are upset about this game, I understand. I understand that it's scary. I understand that it's a scary theme. And I don't mean to sort of be harsh to you about your insecurities and your inability to accept that this sort of stuff exists, whether you like it or not. And I know that just telling you to get over it, if you're watching it, might be triggering and might not feel empathetic or sympathetic to you. And I understand. But you also have to understand that sometimes your views aren't fully formed, you know? Sometimes your views should change. And the like mock outrage over this game or this game's theme that I've like seen people talk about and how it makes them uncomfortable. I mean, it's a game. I think this would be so much fun to like roleplay as. I want to be a friggin' sexy dancer that's taking money for being sexy instead of, you know, the alternative. I don't want to be the people in the club. That's something that I'm not interested in. If this was from like a club owner's perspective and you get to objectify women, I'm not as interested. But when the power's in the women's hands, well, hey, yeah, of course I'm interested. Although this really annoys me. This cannot be used retrospectively. It just feels like retroactively would have been a better word for that. And that just infuriates me as well. But let's look at the rulebook. Let's actually bring the rulebook up instead of trying to ascribe the Nightcrawler theme onto it just to make a point. Oh, Sapphire can mitigate at +1 to all your rolls. Sapphire's getting you in a private room, I'll tell you that for free. It seems like there's a lot of those sort of stat checks, and rulebook's 3/4 down the page. A little bit of that take that in terms of that push and pull of stealing things from other players, which I don't mind in games, but I like when I can kind of rely more on strategy and less on unmitigated dice roll. But here's the main board. Here's the stage that you'll start on. You'll be called up to the stage at certain points during the time. During the round tracker, you're called up on the stage, and then you can roam and you can walk around the tables and you can reveal customers because they've been sitting dimly in the dark, and you can go up to them and you can see how much money they got, because that's all that matters, since you are providing a service and you deserve to be paid for that service. So here's where they were talking about energy points. To go back on that, you can move and you can flip over customers. You can engage with a customer. You can only engage with one customer or else they get jealous. That makes sense. You roll a dice and you have to exceed the number. That's where I'm like, meh, whatever. And then once they're loyal to someone, to steal them, as long as you roll the dice that's higher than their loyalty, then you can woo them over to you. And you can see here, this is the sort of stages of the game. This just shows you when you need to be on stage. Once you've committed a customer, your next turn, they'll be in the VIP room. And that's where you can kind of do little mini games to push your luck. And then here's the dice mitigation, where you can spend money at the bar. You can hold drinks. Shots are used when engaging with customers or stealing. They can add your +1 to your roll, +1 to a steal attempt. And then champagne is used for your dice rolls in VIP room and card draws in the private room. But remember, the most money wins, right? So you're paying $500 for a +1. I like that there is the dice mitigation, but again, it's not something that feels like that interesting to me, and that you have to run to the bar and grab shots just to run and I don't know, it doesn't seem that exciting. It also doesn't say here when you can use them. So it says when engaging with the customers. Can you use it afterwards? I would hope so. You roll and then you use the shots afterwards. That's much better than having to commit beforehand, especially if it's so laborious to get to the bar when you only have 4 energy points, right? You got to run to the bar. What if your customer is like above the bar? That's a while to travel. And so it just doesn't feel like in most cases the juice will be worth the squeeze, or it will kind of depend on the randomness of who's next to the bar or not. If you're on stage, I mean, you can pay $1,000. If you haven't planned out, you're not going to want to do that, so you're going to always want to plan. So you're running around to try to flip these tables over these customers that have banknotes on it, so or not if you're going to be going up on stage, because you're going to get money if you're on stage. And then you get some power cards as well, which are immediate effects, which... Hey, Big Spencer. I think that's what that says. Add +2. Have any customer escorted out by security. So these are like the little wild random events that are that might interact. You'll refresh the customers, the ones that are up that nobody wanted to dance on. And then finally, the lights turn on. All customers get flipped face up. So you have one last chance to run to the customer that you want. But even just like being here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess you could get anywhere with 4, but you still couldn't engage the customer. Really, the flow of the game is go get a customer, go to the VIP room to get as much money as you can. Go get a customer, go to the VIP room as much as you can. And so for every card you draw, the private room, here are your mini games. The private room, which is easier to get into than the VIP room, you just draw cards in a little push your luck game. You don't want to match 3 symbols. If you do, you leave with $500. You don't get a lot. Otherwise, you do a little push your luck game where you don't. And then you stop and you can earn money equal to your customer's star rating, right? It's a very simple little mini game. It's fine. And then in the VIP room, and this one again, you're rolling dice and you don't want to roll the symbols that you don't already have in order to try to get the customer in love to pay you potentially $10,000. I wish somebody was in love with me to pay me that much. But again, so those are the two sort of like climaxes, no pun intended, to the game, right? You're maneuvering around, you're getting a customer, then you're doing this small push your luck game, and you're kind of rinsing and repeating as quickly as you can while not worrying about going on stage. I mean, if you're making $10,000 or $5,000, you probably are going to skip your stage element unless you're getting money thrown at you from the tippers. There are some decisions here to be made. There's also a solo mode and a co-op mode and a 2v2 mode. And as you can see by their one-pager, I don't think that's like the mode, right? Like I think it was designed for that competitive idea, but you don't even have the freedom to roll and try to engage more customers. in a round, you can only engage one of them. And so it's like a get a customer, go here. Unfortunately, I don't see this game being that deeply strategic, I will say. It's not something that really interests me other than the theme. And then when you look at how much it costs, I mean, if you just want the minis, which 42 people do, hey, you've hit the STL market on Kickstarter, where people are obsessed with getting busty cowgirls dressed like cows. But the standard edition is $80 US, which is 111 Canadian, and then plus $22 shipping to the US, $27 shipping to Canada. Like, this is a $150 game for what amounts to really, really basic decision making. And if you want that, great. 100%, that's awesome. But for me personally, when I spend that much money on a game, I want it to have like a lot of depth and a lot of replayability. And unfortunately, I see this one coming up more as a bit of a gimmick, or less replayable, just because I don't think the strategy is that interesting. However, the strategy may not matter to you, right? If you're really interested in the theme, then that's what's going to bring it back to the table. I just don't see it like knocking the gameplay out of the park. I think the theme will only take you so far. I think that theme will sort of wear off at a certain point, and you may not be as enamored with it as you once were. Kind of like when someone steals your customer as a dancer. But hey, what the hell do I know? We've got a whole bunch of people pledging for this. 5,000 people, which I think is awesome. I want to see the community, where they come from. I used to see new backers 1,500. That's pretty good. I mean, that's probably the artist's already existing fan base, if we're being real, but 1,500 compared to 3,549, that's really exceptional. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, check it out. The finish is Saturday, July 20th. Me personally, it wasn't interesting enough to me to want to review it. I think I would have given it probably a 3 out of 5. I think I would have said this is fine. And I felt that would be rude to do a designated video on that when they're trying to raise funding, and so I figured I'd just share my thoughts in Crowdfunding Countdown instead, as I always do. So let's move on. Let's keep going to the HOB box. Get out of here, HOB box. Go find a name that's not just another item's name plus HOB. Oh, crab. Here we go again. Next up, we have Oh Crab, a unique crab-themed board game for families and gamers alike, an original combination of mechanics, strategic depth, and interaction. Ooh, never seen those paired together before. Okay, we're back. Oh, this looks even darker on camera. Oh Crab is a clever, fast-paced racing board game that will have you on the edge of your crabs. You race against your friends, you control runaway crabs, or runway crabs, walking the runway. Escaping from the fry house, navigating obstacles and challenges along the beach, and to reach the safety of the sea. So there's deck building, high interaction, clever and fast, competitive. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Footprints as you're racing across a hex-based board. I've got a review for that coming out soon, and that's a fun one. So it seems like player interaction and karma means that it's a big old take that. Oh, I gotta friggin' wash this off my face. We'll keep it. We'll keep it for the rest of the video. Okay, give me the rulebook or how it works. Sure, anything. Each turn, you play a single card from your hand. You resolve that action. You can move forward, move to the side, etc. Shows you how you can move. You can match the symbol with the one on the previous card to get an additional bonus. Oh, I see. So that's what these little things are on the side. So we give you an additional side move. You're chaining things together. Shells gained from the card or from the board you can use to pay for special moves, so special little swaps. Get more powerful cards, faster actions to move, push your opponents into obstacles, knock them over as you push them onto a human being. The first to reach the sea wins. Rulebook available soon? No, come on. Rulebook available soon? You're in your last week. What the dang hell? Like, and this is a good price, €30, 45 Canadian. That would be great. Just like, why don't you let me see the rules? I mean, you have the rules in gameplay in Polish. That's disappointing. I think this could be potentially fun, but since it doesn't have a rule book, why would I ever consider it? And shipping €13 to US, Canada, Australia, and to the Europe, Yeah, that's what it is. Dang. I think this looks fun. Like, the outline looks fun, but then when you don't quite know the amount of interaction, the amount of that's in there, how interesting the decisions are going to be until you actually look under the hood. And because of that, there's no way I could ever recommend it. If you want to take a gamble on it, sure, I guess. Just get Footprints instead. That finishes July 21st at 6:59 p.m. Moving along. Yeah, I mean, sure, it's a little print and play. It's got the rules, you know what? And because of friggin' dinky crabs, we're gonna look at this because it has the rule book. Triassic, search for the gojiarasaurus. You have 5 different dice, different colors, players playing simultaneously. You roll all the dice, discard the dice with the highest value. All the dice of that value will not be used this turn. Then you assign 2 of the remaining dice to your player sheet to get DNA, to get eggs, to get a skeleton. You score for each completed DNA set. So you're just using your dice efficiently. It doesn't seem like there's many combos, or it's just like, hey, use the color of the dice or use the number of the dice, and you just choose which ways you want to increase. Finding the right moments to shift focus around the sheet will maximize combos, leading to even bigger scores. I don't know, if you like print and plays, you could check it out. There might be some combos there. They don't show enough of the game to show what's going on, but it seems like a bunch of little mini games that you're doing over there, and it's $4. So if you want it, check it out. That's Monday, July 22nd at 11:03. We're going to keep moving to Shadow and Blade, a thematic board game of stealth, action, and heist. This goal seems way too small. Oh, because it's a print and play. This is another print and play game. Okay, so what's this one all about? Management of dice with currency of skills and actions. You'll get 3 scenario maps, 3 mini campaigns as you break into the fortress of King Vindictus. Seems a little vindictive. You choose the mission. You position Calum at the map entrance. Prepare your character sheet. Is this just a solo? Play yours, it says. Yeah, it's a solo game. It's a solo print and play as you can go through, kind of like Thief. I mean, I like Thief. Prepare your character sheet with life points, little mini dungeon crawler, dice rolling, action allocation. Roll 4 dice, assign the dice to various actions on your character sheet. I like that because it's a little dungeon crawler is what it is. And then you do your actions. You move, you can attack to engage enemies with combat, you run around, you try to pick things up. Just a little sweet dungeon crawling romp. The enemies will move and try to chase you, and that's €5. So if you like that, yeah, I think I saw that's enough. That seems pretty good. That finishes Monday, July 22nd at 1 p.m. And moving along to Brink, which hasn't crossed $1 million yet, and so won't get a standalone 5 reasons you shouldn't back. We have, by Ivy Studios, Shape the Legacy of the Moonrakers, at our new standalone worker placement game filled with diplomacy, trading, and hexploration. I don't really know anything about Brink. I'm very excited to check it out. I think, like all Ivy Studios games, I think it's going to have great above-the-table interaction, and it will be very produced. And depending upon if you like that or not, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm really interested to check it out because I quite enjoy Ivy Studios games. I've now played Veiled Fate, Moonrakers, Moon Rollers, and Fractured Sky. I think Veiled Fate is still my favorite out of all of those, but the Moonrakers was fun. And like, no way would I ever want to pay $100. Moonrakers was one where I was like, yeah, I can't even contemplate paying the price for it. With Veiled Fate and Fractured Sky, I was like, yeah, I could probably pay the price for it. With Moonrakers, I was like, nah, no, it's not a good enough deck builder to pay that price. But it definitely is solid, so I don't know. Anyway, let's stop talking about that and let's start talking about Brink. Brink, filled with hexploitation. Hexploration. Oh, crap, no. I'm worried with that feature film. I mean, it was 5 minutes. You know your attention span is bad when you're like, wow, 5 minutes? I wanted 1 minute. I'm worried that they're saying, yeah, if you want the full rules, that they won't have the rule book on the page, which might be upsetting to me. But I'm already interested a little bit in terms of what I see. I can see the board expanding, and that kind of creates the worker placement spots. Seems like the worker placement are probably pretty basic because they're just get resources currently. That I know of from that just like brief description until we look into it a little bit more, and expanding. I like expandable maps, right? I think maps that kind of grow over time tell a nice story, and then there's going to be a very important council or voting phase where I think you're really going to use your resources and figuring out what you're going to bid. I like blind bidding and sussing out your opponent. I quite enjoy that aspect. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this. I need to look at the price for the lowest. You know what? 79, 108 Canadian. That's decent. That is decent for Ivy Studios. Or we have the deluxe. Oh, with deluxe player trays, custom cubes. Dang, that's what I was really hoping was in 79. But generally, I think I have the It might have the base of Veiled Fate. I don't know. I don't mind the Moonraker's art style. It doesn't like really turn my crank, but they've used it for 3 games now, and they must really like the world, or they must really like saving on art. They also mentioned that there's a Brink. This campaign feels really cool because there is like a murder mystery that they're doing, which is unlocking stretch goals, which if you haven't partaken in, that seems really cool. That's the Brink Terminal, a text adventure murder mystery. That sounds pretty fun. And it feels like they're trying to make this campaign fun as well. It's fun to be a part of and to stand out. I mean, HOBS Studios, they make great games. They're overproduced, but they're awesome, you know? And the genuine passion for that, like, they're like, yeah, we want to put a gun on a ship. And they just want to do that. They want to make, like, Austin in the video was like, I just wanted to see cool painted minis. So there's a pledge for that as well, because he liked the painted minis in the other one. I remember when the Veiled Fate expansions were happening, I was talking to Austin at Level Up Gaming Retreat, because we were both there, and he said, oh yeah, there's this one really cool thing that you're gonna hate. It's just a plastic city for the city. I was like, you're right, I do hate that. He's like, I know, but I love it. I think that's very fun. And clearly they find people who like their stuff as well. You can enhance your vote. I'm very interested in seeing what this special faction action is like. And also, to be fair for price, well, I think generally it's not like I see a lot of Ivy Studio stuff anywhere in stores other than in their own store. And so with that in mind, the prices are probably accurate because their stuff is expensive. How to play. Brink rulebook. Oh, thank goodness. Yes, thank you. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm about to be so upset. On your turn, you'll choose one of your ships and place it on the board. It'll activate 1, 2, or 3 hexes depending on what type of ship you place. Oh, okay, so you have like multiple worker placement actions. Yeah, this is what I really like. I like this potential intersection of things. I think if you were just going on one space, it would be a bit boring, but the idea that you can claim 2 spaces and intersect and claim 3 actions with your super powerful ship, that gets me excited on the worker placement front. Each ship gives the player power in faction colors it touches, so you're not just doing it for the actions, for the resources, you're also trying to do it for the faction power. Also a fun decision. When you're placed on the edge, you draw, so you can draw a random one if you're not happy with the things that exist. I think that's cool. Trade. Some influence cubes called favors have a white outline. These cubes go in front of your player tray and must be traded away on your turn, or they'll be returned to the supply. Players can also trade any cubes they already own. Oh, that's cool. So it's like, oh, I really like that idea. That's neat. You're like, yeah, I'm getting these to trade to you specifically. Now trade them to me. And then it also is like, puts people in a real disadvantageous position or an advantageous position. If I have like 4 resources in front of me that I have to trade away, I have to trade them away. And you're offering me 1 resource. Is it worth it just to get the 1 resource, or I'm going to lose all those potential? I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be worth it. I wouldn't give you 4 resources, but I like that that idea. That's great. In addition to gathering resources, you also take actions. This is a great how to play section. Really is very clear. I'll still glance through the rulebook, but I'm feeling very good about it. Ambassador action, hire ambassadors, gives you special abilities, so you're constantly, yeah, that was like Moonrakers as well. You get those constant abilities. That was the fun part of Moonrakers. Riders, the rider action lets you affect the round council vote in some way, helping or hurting a faction, or changing how they'll be scored. I like that. Little individual conditions. Uh-oh, this one looks good. Ship upgrades. The upgrade action helps player improve their ships, giving them more power on all hexes they touch, or by doubling the resources on hexes they activate. Okay, so this is essentially stolen from Fractured Sky in terms of getting double resources or improving your strength, right? That's how it feels to me. And then the action cards, you can play single-use abilities, spend them as influence. Cool, 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 cool. I like that they're multi-use as well. Yeah, Ivy Studios. How dare you? After all players have placed their ships. Oh, and I do love that the how to play comes above showing everything off. Good job. I'm glad this didn't hit 1 million. This would be tough. I mean, it can hit 1 million now. Now it's in its final week. I'm not gonna do it again. Council vote. Time for the council vote. Players will vote for whichever faction color they want to score this round. So players are likely to vote for the color that their ships are touching the most. Factions that get first or second in the voting will multiply players' power by the points awarded for that round. Okay, I'm going to go on to see an example of that. Oh, and there's the second and the third, and you see how much prestige you get for each thing that you're touching. So that's how you score points. You're saving that up But do you care, or are you wanting to develop your ecosystem, essentially? After 3 rounds, you score additional points for remaining cubes, ambassadors, action cards, most points wins. Brink rulebook, gimme. Oh, and 2-player mode. Interesting. The rivals mode in Brink makes it easy to help with trading. 2 cubes of each color will be added to the rival bag. Players can trade with the rival bag. Okay. Take cubes in the bag and take the rewards from the supply, according to what cubes the rival is looking for. So you know what the rival is looking for, and then you can trade for whatever you want, and then you put it in the bag. The rival will vote using 4 randomly drawn cubes. Yeah, that's nice. That 2-player already feels good. Okay, let's take a little look-see here. Only 14 pages in this rulebook. Well, okay, fine, it's 28. But I feel pretty confident here. Ship upgrade board. You can get bonuses, faction objectives. Start with 5. Is it a standard 5? Nope. Shuffle the hexes. Great. Okay, there's limited resources, so you can have a monopoly on certain resource cubes. That's important. And that also makes it important in the rival bag, what you're giving away, right? That makes that 2-player even potentially more interesting. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Like, I wouldn't get it just for 2-player, but it seems kind of intriguing that you could play it with 2. 3-round structure. Yeah, don't place your ships like a maniac. Obviously, they can't be touching other ships. Resources come in 2 types, influence and favor. Well, favor is the white border. Go in front of your player tray. Influence goes directly in your personal supply. For voting and trading, etc. Revolts. It's limited. If none remain, then a revolt is triggered. Everyone, including the player that causes the revolt, must immediately lose half, rounded up with their influence. Oh. So instead, it's not like you can have a monopoly. It's if you have a monopoly and you haven't spent them, well, too bad. Somebody can just go and be like, okay, everybody get rid of half your stuff. It doesn't matter to me. I didn't have any purple, but everybody else has purple, so goodbye. Oh, cool. Retroactive upgrades. Yeah, love. Trading can only involve influence and favors. Negotiations about future trades, turns, or actions are allowed, but not binding. Great. I love whenever I see that in a rulebook. Yeah, you can negotiate for anything. It's not binding. I mean, like, that's inherent in every game, right? Like, you can negotiate for everything, and it isn't binding. But I find that games that do that, like Coup does this, right? It sort of sets the tone of what the game wants the tone to be. You want that opportunity for backstabbing. Cool. You can get action cards. You draw 2, pick 1. So you'll essentially get 6 guaranteed actions each round. And it's what you do with those 6 actions, right? Because you get 1, 2, and 3. Those actions could be getting resources, etc. You start with 1 rider card at the beginning of the game. So you always have a choice between 2 cards. Okay, cool. So whenever you do a rider action, you get an option. You could draw into something, but you probably want to plan on what you have in your hand. Oh, cool. As you go up the track, you can have access to different, either the railgun or the cargo hold. And that will determine how effective your ships are. And putting those on the ships, you know what? I mean, obviously it's going to be fun. Faction objectives. This is what I was interested in looking at. At any time on your turn, you can claim one of the 5 faction objectives as long as you meet the power and influence costs listed on each card. You can claim multiple faction objectives on 1 turn. Place the cards in front of you. It's always 10 of the thing. And whenever you get it, you immediately get something. And you get like an endgame condition. And then, so you get an endgame's kind of scoring condition for all these factions. And then all the other players get access to something, which I like. I like that potential balance. Having not played it, doesn't seem... I don't see the impact of each one yet, but I assume they're medium impactful. Yeah, I do like the -2 votes, like the X's that you can get. I really do like the ability to like negate votes. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I just wanted to take a closer peek at those faction objectives and know their impact. Not as exciting as I was expecting them to be, but yeah, okay. Now let's see the difference between these 2. Ships, a player tray. Okay, you still get player trays in the base one. Or maybe this is deluxe. No, this is the deluxe contents. Dang it, come on. What's the base content? You don't need this tray. You don't need them. I know you want them. You don't need them. Oh, yeah, you can do base. That's fine. I really wish they... Yeah, what's in the deluxe box? Yeah, no, you can just friggin' put it all in a bag. You're fine. It doesn't show me what's in the other box. Come on. Where's what's in the base box? Come on, Ivy Games. Am I just scrolling through it? No. See the pledged level section for more details. Yeah, okay, fine, I will. Here we go. You friggin' putting the deluxe first. Okay, you get your player shields, you get your standard cubes, you get your tokens and your boards. Plastic ship, yeah, you're fine. Custom player markers, custom player cubes, trays on trays on trays. and then faction minis. I could live without that. I think the regular would be fine. And then when you look at like the actual meat of the components that you get in the regular, yeah, you know it feels overpriced, but it's fine. I want all the deluxe at this cost. And if all the deluxe were at this cost, it would be an immediate back for me. All right, 108, what's shipping like? I think their shipping was decent. Here we go, shipping to the US, 16. Oh, right, to Canada, 35. I forgot. Yeah, no, okay. So not for me. No. I'm not paying $150 for this, unfortunately. That's what it would work out for me to be around $150 Canadian. But if you're in the US, you could get it for $95, which is still costly. I think it does look good though. Or you could upsell yourself for $135 for an extra $30. All in all though, this does look quite nice. I think I'd be more interested in this than Moonrakers. Maybe equal to Fractured Sky. You know, it feels like it'll scratch a little bit of that Euro itch, but still will be focused on that trading and managing the resources. So yeah, I quite like this. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did. Well, maybe I was. That finishes Monday, July 22nd at 7 p.m. If you're interested. Next up, we got this called 10% of Your Brain, a trivia game where you might actually know the answers. I don't know what this could be whatsoever. It's only has 32 backers and it's probably not that good, but it's got a good title. So that earns me looking at it. Sorry, this should misspell "you're stupid." It should be "why you are stupid." And it could be "your stupid brain," but no, it should misspell "you're stupid" because then the joke exists in there. This is just a trivia game where you have dumb questions and smart questions. I don't know. Smart questions are then just the questions that you wouldn't ordinarily know, and then the dumb questions allow you to have an automatic win, it seemed. You know, one of the questions in the example was, hey, what's 1 + 1? So that doesn't seem like it's that fun a game, but it's $20, 28 Canadian, has no shipping information, unless I click on it. Let's see. Nope, no shipping information. So why would you ever back this? I don't know, but clearly the creator has 32 friends, and it finishes Tuesday, July 23rd at 1:03 p.m. And then finally, we have our friends at Queen Games back again. The Stefan Feld City Collection. The first 4 games of the City Collection are now available as classic special edition with game trays. Of course, my favorite tray company, and more. As a classic special edition. There have been so many classic collector special editions for this. I can't even friggin' keep track. But let's see how expensive they are. Less than usual. That's good. So they've sort of dulled it down. It's the multi-year collaboration. If you missed spending too much money to get good Queen Games, now you can spend less money because you waited, which is good. Queen Games. I want to go way, way back to New York if I can get there. Yeah, New York, Marrakesh, to see how much it cost way back in the day. Marrakesh Classic, 90. New York City Classic, 74. Game Classic version does not include game trays or a box sleeve, etc. So that was way back in the day when people were ordering it. And now we have a better price. New York City Classic Special Edition, including game trays, including sticker sheet. That's pretty good. Hamburg Classic Edition, 79. What was this? Are we at Marrakesh? Marrakesh was 90 for the Classic, which doesn't include game trays. And now it's 89, which it does include game trays. This actually feels like the best time to get any of these. And these game bigger box with new artwork, game trays for storage, bonus content for each game. You can actually get these for cheaper rather than the extraordinary prices that they were selling to you before. Classic Special Edition, Classic Edition, Essential Edition. So this is just, what are these buzzwords, Queen Games? Like, what's going on here? Classic Special Edition seems to have all the check marks beside them, and they are cheaper than what they have offered them before. So to all of you who got these special editions, from all of us here at Queen Games, we want to say a cordial screw you. And I mean, Stefan Feld is a great designer. He is. So you could get this now for 88. I wonder if they're in stores yet, you know? Let's look at Marrakesh, because I feel like Marrakesh was the more popular. Marrakesh Essential Edition, 95 Canadian. The Standard Edition, 192 Canadian. The Deluxe Edition, 240 Canadian. I hope you're seeing that on your screen. Whereas now this Marrakesh Classic is, this one over here, this Marrakesh Classic is 122 Canadian. So to compare, you can still get it a bit cheaper for the Essential Edition, 95 Canadian at retail. So it's about a $30 bump, but you do get those game trays and the setup aspect. So judging by this, they're just adding in some upgraded components, which they don't really specify. What's the upgraded components, do they? Including 6 expansions, that's probably in there. Like, you need one heck of a chart to be able to figure out the difference between this. Oh, it's just talking about language cards, language cards. Let's get to the Marrakesh and see what our upgraded components are. Game trays, extra wooden parts, probably that. So some upgraded components. And you're getting that for an additional $30, but you also then have to pay the shipping, which shipping to Canada is $28 for a single game, or $60 for 4 games, so $15. Yes, you're still paying like $150 Canadian, or you could get it at your store for like 100 Canadian. It seems like retail is still the route to go, but you know what? You're getting better, Queen Games. You're mending our tumultuous relationship, and who knows, maybe by next year I might have a Queen Games face tattoo. So that is it. That is it for the week. But every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing that I'm most interested in. The pick for you being the thing that if you get, maybe you won't regret it and hate all of your choices for the rest of your life. I hope so. I hope you don't. But let's check out, before we do that, we'll do a little grunt down, a crowdfunding grunt down, baby. The darkening of the mustache really suits that. Give myself them crowdfunding grunt downs, honey. Let's see. Yeah. Meh. Absolutely not. Meh. Yeah. I mean, fun. Overpriced coup. Meh. Hob. Crab. I mean, it's also just a meh. Nah. Well, yeah. No. That's the grunt down. That's the quick grunt down. I think I do have a pick for me and a pick for you. I think my pick for me for sure goes to Brink. Brink is definitely the pick for me. I think it looks solid. It looks like another solid game from Ivy Studios. I can complain about price point all day, but if I'm just thinking about mechanics, I think this looks fun, and I think it potentially has slightly more depth than a few of their other games. I don't know. I bet it has about the same depth of resource management as Fractured Sky does. The core of Ivy Studios games is if you have a group who likes them, you will probably like their games. There's so much over-the-table interaction that is needed to make these games click, but if you have the right group, they can really, really sing. Now, I haven't played Mythic Mischief, and that's the only one where I feel like you don't need that interaction above the table, but this one looks like another really solid fare from Ivy Studios, and is a real contemplation for sure. Definitely would like to try this down the line. Yeah, super cool. It's been a while since the pick for me has been really resonant, I feel. And so this one sort of resonates a bit more than some previous ones. But again, you need the right group. You need the right group, I find. And you also need to not be a friggin' cheapo McGee and be upset that the minimal components cost you so much. The pick for you, I think, is going to be Phantom Ink. I think Phantom Ink is at a decent price. I think it's a really neat little party game, and a great take on the Decrypto 2 teams codename style. I think it feels unique and fun, and this just, as a sequel will only add and enhance to that already solid gameplay. So I think that's it. That's it for me. Let me know what you're excited about, what you've been up to, how's it going. And you know what? Huge shout out to anybody who's in Halifax, Nova Scotia. If you want to see why I got this big old friggin' mustache on, well, we'll be opening 12th night, and that's what this is for. That'll be happening this week. And shout out goes out to Hillary, who came to see the show. And also, apparently, on our opening night, there were some people who came to see the show, and you didn't stay afterwards. So I can only assume that you hated it, and you hate me in the process. But thanks. If you come to see the theater show at Shakespeare by the Sea, come up to me and say, hey, I watch you on the YouTube, and now I'll see your actual theater show. I'm having a fun time with it. It's going to be a fun summer, and I'm super, super stoked to get all these games played. We've been playing some with the cast, and I just am so excited for both the shows to be open, so I'll be able to introduce the cast to as many games as I possibly can. I played Modern Art for the first time. That was pretty sweet. That was fun to get involved in the bidding, because I hadn't played that one. So yeah, that was fun. Anyway, just want to shout out all y'all who came to see the theater show. And yeah, thanks for being here. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, but I do have an appointment to go tie a damsel to some railroad tracks. So I better get on that.